For the penultimate Sunday before the statewide elections, you found the Georgia gang. And topping our agenda today, it looks like runoffs in the race for governor and the race for U.S. Senate. The Democrats in Georgia go on a race-baiting spree. And in DeKalb County, a mistrial for the county's suspended chief executive. Some of the stories up for grabs. Georgia gang.
From the Fox 5 studios, the Georgia gang starts now.
And we're glad you'll be with us today. This is the last of two broadcasts before the elections come up on November 4th. And so we're going to try to cram a lot of political news in. And we're going to begin with the latest Fox 5 poll by Insider Advantage. And Phil, the numbers have changed a bit. You said 2 weeks ago, we'll wait and see what they are 2 weeks out. I think the Republicans have problems.
Well, the problem is there's going to be a runoff, according to this Fox 5 Insider Advantage poll, in both races, the governor and the Senate. Let's start with the governors first. What was released Friday was Governor Deal, 44%, and Jason Carter, 44%. The Libertarian Hunt has 5%, and 7% undecided. And we can talk about that in a minute, but the Senate numbers are somewhat similar, although Michelle Nunn has shown a ticking upward. There is some momentum, as we wondered last week. Nunn 47.
We said it.
Nunn 47, Perdue 45, the Libertarian 4, and the undecided is 4.
Amazing.
Well, that's interesting because if you talk to Republicans, well, I'm going to get out of order here, but if you talk to Republicans earlier in this campaign, they would tell you that the ceiling for a statewide Democratic candidacy is, over the last many years, is about 43. Now Michelle Nunn is at 47%. That almost says to me she could win it without a runoff, Phil.
You know, I don't think so, and I'm going to say this for one reason. You've got now heavy-duty money on both sides for the next 2 weeks. Today, Sunday, will tell the story in DeKalb County because there's going to be some Sunday voting. The Sunday voting the last time was sparse. The Democrats were not happy with that turnout. Now, that could change today, and also I think you're going to see some ads maybe with Johnny Isakson speaking out on behalf of David Perdue, the Republican. There's one last thing that's interesting. You know, the white vote is really up for grabs by Democrat Michelle Nunn. She needs to break through and really get into the 30 percentile. She's not there yet. She's on the cusp. Now, if she can get more white votes, it's conceivable it could be a real barn burner November 4th.
All right, let's back up and go to, we always get out of order on this, but let's go back and talk about the governor's race because Jason Carter had some momentum, but I suspect now that Governor Deal has knocked him back a little bit, especially with these commercials showing that Jason Carter has not done anything. He hadn't passed anything.
Well, I think it could be effective, but the problem with its effectiveness is the fact that the Democrats are not in control of the legislature. So, the Republicans have been doing all of the work in the legislature, so it's not possible to get anything through as a Democrat. But I also think that he has gained momentum here. And there's still, I think there's the sleeping giant of the teachers, the educators are just very unhappy with Governor Deal because of the cuts to education that have been for the last 10 years.
The teachers are full out for Jason Carter. There's no question about that. I also think
we've seen how they've been able to turn other elections.
And all you got to do is look at the Atlanta cheating scandal, and you see what you get with your teachers.
Well, that's right. But I do want to come back on Alexis a little bit. You know, there's some Democrats, including House Minority Leader Stacey Abrams, that do work with Republicans on bills. And I've mentioned Stacey Evans, the Democrat from Smyrna. Well, she has done a lot on education, far more than Jason Carter.
Carter has pointed out that he has had his name on many bills that have been passed into law since he's been in the state Senate, just as other Democrats
But he also
have.
ducked out on some critical votes. Jeff, I think the effective ad for Jason Carter is the one outlining, it's not true really, but how Deal got rich while he was governor. Because he sold his auto salvage yard.
Well,
I think that's an effective ad.
It is. It's an effective
ad.
It's running every 2 minutes on the local TV stations. Everybody's going to see it. I think that it's getting a lot of traction. I think that that's why you're seeing this race get as close as it is.
There it is.
And, you know, again, you look at those 7 points of undecided. What's going to happen? They're going to split. And what we're going to see is that the Libertarian candidate is going to be the spoiler in that race and quite possibly in the Senate race as well.
Now,
And also, I think that one of the things that is happening there, that's a 1-2 punch that Jason Carter is doing with that. In addition to talking about how the governor has gotten rich since he's been governor, he's also pointing out the lack of jobs in Georgia and being at the bottom, and the working class people are being hit upon with this.
by the way,
set
just
of
before we switch back to the
ads.
Senate race, Metro Atlanta's unemployment went way down in this past month from 8% to 7.3%.
Yeah, well,
Right.
let me just do a footnote too. You know, again, we're talking about effective ads. I think the Governor Deal has come back with an effective ad too on parental choice and how Jason Carter is against charter schools and parental choice. That just started airing Friday. So again, I do agree with Jeff. I think that the undecided vote, it could split either way. And again, as I say, I think we're headed for a runoff in the governor's race.
Now,
right.
to the Senate race, I think Michelle Nunn had momentum pounding on outsourcing. I really think she did. And I think David Perdue finally awakened and countered with a pretty effective commercial in which 4 women talk about all the jobs he created. And they're kind of pleasant people, it seems. They don't seem angry or anything. And I just sense that that's going to help him. Plus, Republican big guns are coming to town. Over the weekend, the weekend in which we speak, we had Ted Cruz, we had Rand Paul, he's had Chris Christie before.
That's right.
And so I think, and as you mentioned, Isaacson, if that
I think
occurs.
that Isaacson probably is a credible person for Republicans in Georgia. I'm not so sure that the other players are, but
they help the conservative base.
Michelle Nunn has got a big Democrat coming out, and his name is Sam. He's in her commercials now.
Right.
We knew that was going to happen. I think it's going to be very
You're
effective.
talking about the U.S. Senator who stabbed George H.W. Bush in the back.
We're talking
at
about
the 11th hour voting against Desert Storm.
I'm talking about the U.S. Senator.
That U.S. Senator?
The U.S. Senator who was an expert on defense policy for many years, represented Georgia well.
Oh, his reputation
in the
was
US
ruined
Senate.
on Desert Storm.
On the
His
US
reputation
Senate.
was ruined.
As it turns out, in
nobody, and he was
retrospect, it
he was
recover,
the
huh?
darling
Look
of
at what has
conservatives for
happened
20
since.
years
Right.
plus.
Not really.
Desert Storm was a great success, and Sam Nunn was on the wrong
And
side of
Desert
it.
Storm led to the
And
Iraqi
Jeff, you
war
remember
of the
this,
last
that vote
15
by
years.
Sam Nunn was the cause of the most letters to the editor in the Atlanta Journal's history, because people could not believe that their conservative senator took that position. Now, she's also, Michelle Nunn, using a new commercial with the picture of George H.W. Bush. He has asked her to stop, and she's ignoring
For
it.
the 3rd time, he's asked her to stop doing this. And also, you saw on Black Radio just last week, Barack Obama endorsed Michelle Nunn.
Here's the thing. I
called
think
V103.
that the conservative, these outside interests who are the PACs that are running these ads, tying Michelle Nunn to Obama, saying she defers and all this, that, as if Obama was the devil. And that is a step too far. And that is going to be what's going to turn out
It's
the black
actually,
vote.
it's actually very
why.
effective.
You all
It's
can-
actually
you-
effective.
It may be effective for the conservative side, but it's also very effective for the opposition, because
Oh,
they're
let me.
getting
All
Vanderbilt.
she needs to do is turn out black voters. If there's a black turnout, if the black turnout
That's right.
comes out, it's a done
Jeff,
deal.
it's
Purdue
not,
is
it's
through.
not enough
And the
unless she
reason-
gets a few more white
and-
percentage
And,
votes.
and Obama might be a bad word to you,
I'll
but
tell you
on
what.
V103, that generates votes.
I'll tell you what, let's do here. We're running out of time, and I want to get into the voter registration,
Right.
and I want to get into the race baiting by the state party, the Democratic Party, and so we'll tie all
We're
those
going to get
topics
into the race
together
baiting by the
When
Republican
when we
Party.
come
Party,
back. I
I
haven't
was gonna
seen
say.
that, Jeff.
Oh,
You
please.
haven't? All this anti-Obama stuff? What else is
What
it?
is there?
That's
Thank you.
legitimate commentary.
He's the President of the United States.
It's legitimate. If we criticize Obama, that's racist?
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
very funny. Very funny. Yeah.
All right. When we come back, race. Stay with us.
Have a question or comment for the Georgia Gang? Visit their website at myfoxatlanta.com.
Just a minute ago, Jeff alluded to black turnout, and we now know what the voter registration figures will look like in this election. We have fewer voters than we did 4 years ago. It's not a huge amount, and the percentage of the black vote is up to, what is it, 30%?
Yes.
Yeah.
And whites have a slightly larger share than that, and there's 20% of the electorate we don't know who they are. We don't know what they are. We don't know who they consider themselves to be.
Yeah, but we see the white vote slipping below 60% for the first time ever in the state of Georgia. Of course, this is a trend that's going to continue.
And so you make the point that, and I've been saying that I think the black vote will amount to 28% of the vote in this election, and the Republicans would win. But your point was well taken, Jeff. If the black vote hits 30 or 32, the Republicans are in big difficulty. And Phil, you're aware of this. The pollsters have had a hard time figuring out just what that turnout's going to be.
They have the Insider Advantage Fox 5 poll that I referred to a little earlier. Matt Towery has weighted that at 30%. He was weighting his polls at 33%. He's gone down a little bit, thinking that will be the black vote turnout.
All right, now we talked about race baiting. I really find it reprehensible what the state party of Georgia did. This is not a fringe group. This is the state Democratic Party of Georgia putting out a flyer that says to avoid Ferguson, Missouri. They have a shadowy figure with his hands in the air. We now know from leaks from the grand jury that his hands weren't in the air. But anyway, we've got this Ferguson-like figure and saying that if you vote Republican, you're voting for Ferguson, that you're voting for mistreatment of black people.
Well, I think the implication there is that in Ferguson there is a majority black population with a majority white electorate.
It's not true in Georgia, though.
But would you condemn that ad? Don't you think that's a bridge too far?
No, I think that's politics. Everybody plays
Isn't that
it
a racial grenade that's being thrown?
It is not a racial grenade. It is a racial reality.
Are all Republicans
for
Ferguson shootings?
If you do not participate, you do not count.
I
That's the point of that.
I remember George H.W. Bush running ads about
Willie Horton getting out of jail.
And
actually, that was a PAC.
And Ronald Reagan going down and starting his campaign in Philadelphia, Mississippi, where 3 civil rights workers were assassinated. We've had race baiting in politics on both sides for a long time.
And I remember the NAACP.
Do you think this is a bridge too far?
You know, I think that the Democratic Party in Georgia has it in their head, and I think that they are right about this, that the only way that they can win is if they turn out the black vote. And so you appeal to the black vote
by stoking anger against whites or the police?
Visceral, emotional way, and that's what they did.
So you like
I'm not going to say that it's wrong, but I don't think that Ronald Reagan should have been in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Ronald Reagan has nothing to do with this.
He's got everything to do with it because we're talking about racial politics.
It's not stoking anger.
It's stoking anger against the police.
That if you don't vote, you don't count, and you need to make sure that you have representation.
We have over 1,000 black elected officials in the state of Georgia. The progress we have made is tremendous.
Oh, we're so happy for the progress, but we want more.
Yeah, you go to the Georgia Municipal Association convention, and you're startled at how quickly things are.
I don't think this is Ferguson. I don't see Ferguson's here.
Look at the slates of the 2 statewide.
All right, I want to move
parties.
on.
Wait, let me just point out that the Republican Party slate is all white. There are 5 African Americans.
So you're against whites running for office?
I am not against. I'm just pointing out that is the point they're making, that if you don't vote, you don't count, and you don't have your interests represented.
Truly a Republican in name only, a rhino, is John Barge, the state school superintendent of Georgia. And this week he endorsed Valerie Wilson, the Democratic candidate for state school superintendent, who we all
agree is the best candidate.
Right.
No, I'm not going that far, but he has a chance to win.
You should absolutely go that far.
Well, this is, he's obviously a Judas in the Republican Party. He's a traitor. He's lied. He said he was against Common Core.
He needs a job.
I think there may be a deal cut, a shady deal with Valerie Wilson.
This guy Woods ran against John Barge the last time, so why would he support him?
Right.
That's fine if Barge wanted to run for governor in the Republican primary. He got whipped, but to turn over now and support this left winger, it just shows how bad.
I have never heard a Republican, much less a Democrat, say anything bad about Valerie Wilson. I think that there are a lot of Republicans who are going down.
You haven't heard me over the last few weeks.
we got to, and I'd love to be in the voting booth with you to see what you do.
She lines up with the teachers union on all their wacky decisions.
She's a union stooge.
As Dick Williams has said on this program countless times over the last couple of months, if there is a statewide office that Democrats are likely to get.
Because of the power of the union. That's his point.
It's that job. Of course, now it's also the U.S. Senate and the governor's office.
Something funny happened in the race for Attorney General this week.
Can I do the footnote on the demonstration on the connector the other day, since we're on race? What is wrong with the Atlanta Police Department? You've got a mob of people going out onto the connector protesting Ferguson. I don't know why. It's related to stoking up anger. And the police do nothing. There's no arrest. It's a disgrace. I tell you what, Kasim Reed better get control of this situation.
The response time was dreadful, and the fact that they made no arrests, those people were putting their own lives in jeopardy walking out
scary.
on the connector.
But I think the problem or the wrinkle in the situation was that they did have a permit to do the demonstration, but they sort of went off course. They went off course.
Well, there's films of these people.
Right.
They're militant radicals. They should be arrested.
In the race for Attorney General, Greg Hecht, the Democrat candidate, had released a list of sheriffs who had switched from Sam Olens to Hecht. Turned out most of them hadn't. And what was he thinking?
Well, Greg is desperate. It was a desperate throw. And, you know, I was disappointed. I like Greg. He's obviously, of course, the Democrat candidate for Attorney General. But he said, and I couldn't believe it, he said that he wouldn't enforce some laws that are on the books, including traditional marriage. You know, if you're Attorney General, you ought to be enforcing all laws.
Even the ones that are unconstitutional.
Then let the courts decide that. That's the American way.
Oh, good. We could all wait for that.
I remember when I got here.
You won't condemn Greg Hecht for just selective enforcement?
We got to move. He's just playing Eric Holder Jr. Phil, can you do the amendments real quickly?
Yes. I'll tell you what, I'm recommending we vote yes on all three. And the big one is number one, and that is to cap our taxes at 6% because
income tax.
The income tax, thank you. Because we don't want a Democrat legislature in the future raising our taxes. So that's a good one. Vote yes to cap it. The second one is to add additional fees to reckless driving convictions. It goes to the Brain and Spinal Injury Trust Fund. You and I have always been in favor of that, Jeff. And then the third is a good one. It extends the property tax exemption to private companies when they take over the operation of dorms in our university system.
Keeps the
privatization, Alexis.
It keeps the students' room rates from going through the roof.
That's
right.
right.
Why would they privatize them anyway? Because they were going to give it to somebody who wants to make a profit.
Because this is America.
Okay, so much for our children's education.
We got to get out. We got to get out. Alexis, I got to remind you, we live in America, and we do things through the private sector and for profit. We don't run a bunch of socialist dorms for college students.
We have for 250 years.
It's time to stop.
Okay, thank you.
All right, when we come back, a mistrial on the Ellis trial. Stay with us.
Have a question or comment for the Georgia Gang? Visit their website at myfoxatlanta.com.
As we expected this week, the jury in the Burrell Ellis trial in DeKalb County reported that they were hung, and Judge Courtney Johnson declared a mistrial. We all felt that that was probably what was going to happen after how many days of 11 days of deliberations and that long trial. Apparently the jury liked Burrell Ellis and his wife and his children and found him to be credible and likable, and that the man who wore the wire was not.
Right.
But I think we go back more than a year to the uneasiness on this panel with the charges that were brought. Burrell Ellis was not accused of stealing any money, and I always thought this would be tough to prove. Jeff, what do you think?
Well, again, you know, I've got to do the disclaimer. I was on the legal defense team. I am no longer. I have not been for a long time, no matter what motions are filed in court. Let me say that at the outset.
And I know
you are exactly right. There was an opportunity, it seems to me, early on, for a seasoned and experienced district attorney to bring an office holder into his office and say, I'm hearing things that I ought not be hearing, stop what you're doing. And instead, there were these, you know, public raids and the charges that resulted in this very protracted and expensive trial. And the question is, do we at this point retry him at taxpayer expense again? And I hope that the decision is no.
Well, yeah, I think the district attorney is going to be tempted because on one of the extortion counts, the jury was 11-1.
Well, that's right. I
Robert
think
James has got to look at that as an opportunity.
I'm going to look in the crystal ball and go on a limb here, and I think he will be retried. As we all know, it's become very personal between the DA
and that's unfortunate
and
as well.
Burrell Ellis. It is unfortunate.
It is too bad. And I also think that if they do, they're going to end up with a hung jury again, because they won't have this person who incriminated himself, the assistant who did the secret taping. They won't be able to use him again.
Now, Burrell Ellis did damage himself. He came across as a bully on these tapes.
Well,
and also,
but a bully does not make you guilty.
There's another alternative too, and that is the DA does nothing for the rest of Burrell Ellis's term,
which is a terrible thing.
And that's an option.
Well, that'd be chaos. We can't have that. I hope the DA makes a decision. Let's move over to Cobb County, where the doings are very strange. A private eye and a PR firm looking into the email records of 2 commissioners and other opponents of the Braves Stadium deal.
And Chairman Tim Lee.
Yeah, it's beyond bizarre, isn't it?
Well, it's dirty politics. You know, let's talk First Amendment. We all have the journalism backgrounds here, and we all believe in the right of, especially on this show, the right of everyone to air their opinion. And I think it's a chilling effect on free speech when you start going after people. These are opponents of the SPLOST. These are opponents of Tim Lee. One of the people have filed an ethics complaint against Tim Lee, who's not looking very good at all in Cobb. So I think it's a terrible situation.
Well, we do need to mention the Cobb Ethics Commission voted 5-1 to do a full investigation of the allegations against Tim Lee.
That's right.
The county commission chairman. At City Hall, we'll just touch this briefly. The feud is heating up between Councilwoman Felicia Moore and Mayor Kasim Reed. She wants detailed financial information about those hardship payments made to certain Atlanta officials. And then Reed got hit, collateral damage, when a policeman apparently recorded Police Chief George Turner saying, I didn't have a hardship. I was just trying to decide whether to retire, and so Kasim gave me this money, the $80,000.
Kasim Reed did not have a good week.
Yeah, but it's unprecedented, I think, for a city council member to request or to be granted direct access to computer files of accounts payable.
But they're public records, Jeff.
Well, it's just not something that they've normally done.
This is the 21st century. Can't you log in and just look?
No,
as opposed to waiting 2 months
and
getting them anyway?
I think you don't want to have that exposure of personnel information. And I do think they need to respond to her request for the information.
But she's going to get it in 2 or 3 months anyway. What's the difference if she logs in? And they're under a confidentiality agreement if it has to do with personnel.
Let me sneak in another local issue. This is important. One of our most important local institutions, the Coca-Cola Company. That stock took a huge hit this week. I know that from personal experience, shall we say. Yes, I'll disclose I own some Coke. But their soda volume was way off. And their numbers were not good. And now they're going to cut $3 billion from the company to ratchet up their marketing. And so I think that's just a situation.
There's a shake-up with their marketing director. I was a little worried about Coke when I saw the news that they built a plant in the Gaza Strip and it got hit by an Israeli missile and blew it up. I wouldn't build a Coke plant in the Gaza Strip.
Make it kosher. Okay, when we come back, winners and losers.
Time now for this week's Winners and Losers.
And we'll begin the process here with you, Phil.
Well, my winner is the Warriors Softball Classic over at Coolray Field over in Gwinnett County. You know, it's the home of the Gwinnett Braves. Get a load of this. A lot of the old Braves are going to be playing for veterans benefits, veterans homes. You're going to have John Rocker, Leo Mazzoni, Brian Jordan, Otis Nixon, and they're playing the Military Warriors All-Stars, 12:30. The tickets are $20 for adults, $10 for kids. It's today, Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Good. There you go.
And let me just make the loser again, the Atlanta Police Department. When you're having a mass demonstration on the connector during a rush hour, you might want to clear them and arrest them.
Yeah, back up the vans. All right, Alexis, what do you have?
Okay, I am going to salute the Bronze Lens Film Festival going on right here in Atlanta through this weekend, where it's a collection of film and people in front of and behind the scenes. And congratulations to Kathleen Bertrand and Deirdre McDonald, the artistic director for them. And so that's an exciting time for Atlanta with people coming from all over. And then the DeKalb NAACP had its 58th annual Freedom Fund dinner, and I had the opportunity to be a mistress of ceremony with Bishop Quincy Carswell. And Zernona Clayton was the speaker, and there were awards recognizing community leaders in DeKalb. So it was a great event.
All right, Jeff?
Union City has a huge announcement tomorrow, Monday. Hundreds, possibly more than 1,000 new jobs. Mayor Vince Williams there in Union City has partnered with the private sector to make that happen. He's the winner of the week, and so is Union City. Loser, the Amalgamated Transit Union, the national office brought in a whole bunch of money, $100 grand, to buy full-page ads in the AJC.
Attacking the general manager.
Attacking the general manager and a picture of where he lives. Why? Because they're one of the last major transit agencies in the nation to outsource paratransit. And it's happened everywhere else, and they're trying to stop it from happening here.
You're for outsourcing here.
Yes, we're all for outsourcing here on that. Okay, we're kind of running out of time. Now, there's a little change in the schedule today. If you're watching us on Sunday morning, you know that the Falcons are coming up at 9:30 right here on Fox. If you don't have church plans, you can watch the game, or like me, you can TiVo it and hope you don't get the score on the way home. The DeKalb police are going to have, they're buying cameras for all their officers, and they want to, you know, like record incidents and so forth. I think they've got that backwards. What they should do is buy cameras for all the commission members to keep track on what they're up to and what they're doing. All right, and Phil, I hope you get Todd Gurley back. We'll see. We'll see you next week on the Georgia Gang, last broadcast before the election.
The opinions expressed in this broadcast are those of the panelists appearing on today's program.